Well, good afternoon. I am Jade Cunningham. We are launching our evacuee desk today, and I am joined by Sam Winstrom, who really has been an integral part of all of this, a great resource for our viewers and for people, because he has been doing this evacuee desk from the very beginning, following things on social media. You are part of our digital team, so we are very, very fortunate to have you with us today and for you being part of this evacuee desk. So thank you.
Thank you.
We are launching this evacuee desk today to help our viewers out because of Tropical Storm Nicholas, which we could get rain from. So I guess let's just kind of start off with that, really, talking a little bit about Tropical Storm Nicholas and what we could expect. So I know that it is expected to hit Texas, which, you know, as we all know, a lot of people have evacuated, especially to Houston before Ida. So what are you kind of seeing online and social media, just kind of about this storm? And I guess we'll just start there.
Yeah, I mean, one of the main things to keep in mind right now is that this storm is mostly a rainmaker. You know, this isn't a Category 4 storm like Ida. They expect it to either be a tropical storm or a low-end hurricane. So the real threat is going to be rain right now. And for the coastal areas of Texas, you know, on the eastern side of Texas, obviously on the Gulf Coast, they're expecting more than 10 inches of rain in some areas.
That's a lot.
And this is expected to make landfall tonight, early Tuesday morning in that time frame. But something to keep in mind, I was checking in with our partners. We work with a station in Houston, KHOU, and I got this confirmed from them. There are no evacuation orders in that area right now.
Which is really important because, you know, some people right now might be thinking about, hey, is it the time for me to go back home to, you know, New Orleans or wherever in southeastern Louisiana? And really what we're seeing from our partners at KHOU and the staff there is that they're really telling people to stay put after 6 p.m. If it's 6 p.m. and you're not on the roads headed somewhere, you need to stay where you are because, again, a lot of rain is expected with this system tonight and tomorrow. Now, for us here, for southeastern Louisiana, we could be seeing a lot of rain, or we will be seeing, I guess, you know, potentially large rain amounts, especially Wednesday, maybe Tuesday night into Wednesday. They're saying anywhere maybe 4 to 8 inches possible here. But in Houston and other parts of, you know, in surrounding areas, they're saying that it could be 10 plus inches, maybe 20 inches of possible rain.
There could be street flooding, things like that out there. But what officials are saying right now is, as of 6 p.m. tonight, stay put. If you're in a, you know, if you're in a safe home, a hotel, when you're out there right now, stay inside, stay off the roads. I know we've already heard they're setting up barricades. They're blocking off some low-lying areas so that, you know, nobody tries to test the waters anywhere. That's going to be important, just like we would here. You know, if we expected 10 inches of rain in the city tonight, NOPD would be out right now blocking off, you know, different intersections that we know flood every time it rains. And so it's important, if you're out there, don't go around those barricades, you know, first of all. And second of all, we don't expect this to be a massive power outage. You know, we don't expect this to be anywhere near as strong as Hurricane Ida was. And I think it is the kind of thing that if you're in Houston right now, if you're in that area, when I say Houston, I mean Corpus Christi, Galveston, any of the cities kind of on the eastern side of Texas, near the Louisiana-Texas border, along the Gulf Coast, stay inside and stay safe right now.
Yeah, they said, you know, by Thursday, this system should be kind of out of the area. So if you can stay put until Thursday, that might be your best option. I know so many people are really antsy to try and get back and, you know, get back to their house and, you know, see what they're dealing with at their homes. And but obviously this kind of changes things a little bit. So again, if you can stay home or stay put in, you know, wherever you are in Texas, that might be the best option. So again, they are saying, you know, could see rain about 20 inches possible in that area, but 4 to 8 inches possible here. I know some people are asking, will St. Tammany Parish be impacted by this? Again, a lot of rain.
Yes. Pretty much all of southeast Louisiana and southwest Louisiana, too, is going to get rain from it. But again, we're not expecting strong winds. But there will be, you know, there's a possibility for flooding. And I believe the last forecast I saw, we're not expecting any kind of widespread flooding. We're not expecting it to be everywhere. But as we all know with any storm, depending on where it rains and how much it rains in one area, it could be, you know, the streets in your neighborhood could end up flooded. A certain major roadway could end up flooded, just depending on how things kind of shake out during the day. But we're not expecting the kind of widespread street flooding that would, you know, shut down the whole area or cause any major problems. But something to keep in mind if you are in our area, though, is if you have a hole in your roof, damage to your roof, and you have not put up a tarp yet, it is going to be raining a lot that day. And now is the time to make sure that the tarps on your roof are secure, that your house is ready for something like that. If you have some dangling tree branches or a few things that you just haven't gone around and taken care of yet, today's the day.
Yeah.
Today, tomorrow morning, but it's time to get that stuff out of the way, because those things, maybe they haven't been a problem for the last week, but they could be come Wednesday.
Yeah, it's never a bad idea to maybe take this opportunity today. And, you do have some time tomorrow as well, because I think we're expected to see some impacts tomorrow night, especially Wednesday. Though Wednesday, I think, is the big day for the rain that we could be seeing. But, as Sam was mentioning, take this time today to go around your property, secure things, maybe go up on the roof if you can, and just double check that tarp, because rain is coming and you just want to make sure that no more water will be getting into your house. We've heard from the city of New Orleans and some other places that they have been checking the drainage system, getting big things out to kind of help maybe not if, but when systems like this come into the area, so they can try and move as much water out of the areas they possibly can. So also, maybe not necessarily just your property, but if you can go around and check your catch basins near your property,
yeah, also
drainage, make sure those are clear as well, to really get the runoff flowing, and so it doesn't flood or anything.
Yeah. I know we're all kind of out of our routines right now, a little out of habit with everything that happened, but that is, as you know, that's part of a lot of storms in our area, is making sure that our catch basins are clear, especially with all the debris we've set aside. There could be debris blocking the catch basins in your neighborhood right now, because that's, generally along the side of the road.
Sure.
It's where you set up your debris and wait for it to be picked up. So that's something to check tonight, that's something to check in the morning, and just make sure it's clear. It'll be good for you, it'll be good for your neighbors. I know it can be a pain sometimes. We've been through a lot, but little things like that right now could make a huge difference come Wednesday.
And it also begs the question about the Blue Roofs program. I know that's something that we have been talking about for some time now, and a lot of people are encouraged to apply to that program. It is free. We have been hearing from officials that things kind of have gotten off to a slow start with the Blue Roofs program. On Wednesday, I think they started, and they Wednesday they had their first tarp up, and then from Wednesday to Saturday they had about 800 tarps installed, which, again, kind of a slow start, but they're saying once the program is up and running, they should be getting up to 800 tarps per day. For people who may not have applied for this program, what is the resource? Do we know?
Yeah, I've got it right here.
Okay.
If you want to apply for the Blue Roof program, it is a free federal program where a contractor that the government has hired will come out and place a blue tarp on your roof to cover up the roof damage, and keep your house more livable, help keeping it from getting more damage when storms like this happen. And so if you want to register online, you would go to blueroof.us, which is the color blue, roof.us, or you can call 888-766-3258. It's 888-766-BLUE, if it helps you remember it that way.
That's an easy way to remember it.
But yeah, like I was saying, now is the time to get these tarps up, and that's a solution for you. Not everybody can or should be up on their roof right now, and that's an option for a lot of people, is the Blue Roof program. Again, at blueroof.us or 888-766-3258.
And one thing to keep in mind too is they are really starting to try and ramp up with installing these tarps on people's roofs, but they also can't do it when there's bad weather.
Exactly.
When winds reach 30 plus miles an hour, or they're seeing heavy rainfall, they can't be up on those roofs doing that. So again, there might be some more delays, but which, people just, if you have the opportunity to double check the tarps that you have on your roof, or if you haven't gotten one up on your roof, now is the time to just double check. But if you do need to sign up for that Blue Roofs program, you have until September 30th. That is the deadline. So just keep that in mind. And I know there are some places around the area that are offering tarps now. I know in Jefferson Parish, at some of the sites, the distribution sites today, they are offering tarps as well. We can pull up that information.
Yeah.
So I can pull that up for people. But there's the number for you, Operation Blue Roof, 888-766-3258. You can also go to blueroof.us, and you have until September 30th to sign up for that. There was one question I did see from someone asking if it would be safe to fly in on Wednesday. Again, I would just maybe tell them to check with the airlines.
Yeah, it's going to be, I mean, the airlines call, I'm sure there will be flights delayed. As we know, with storms like this, flights get delayed, flights may even get canceled. But again, this isn't going to be the kind of situation. We're not expecting something like where Ida shut down the airport for more than a week. If you have a flight scheduled to come in Wednesday, it might not be an issue at all. Depending on kind of the wind and rain we get, the flights might still be running just fine, but that's something to keep an eye on. FlyMSY.com will always have the latest on what's going on at the New Orleans airport. And as we've seen through Hurricane Ida, they kept things really up to date there as which airlines were operating, which flights were coming in and out as places canceled. Like I said, that was a question from one of the viewers right now. And if you have a question, I want to point out either in our live stream comments on Facebook, if you have anything you want to know about the storm, preparations, if you evacuated to Texas or one of the areas that's going to get hit, closer to landfall for this tropical storm, potential hurricane, feel free to leave us our comments in the questions in the comments. But you can also text message us. If you want to send a message to 504-529-4444, we will get those and we will happy to answer them here for you. Even if you come up with a question later, I try to keep an eye on that line all day, and I'll find you an answer if we can get you one.
Absolutely. I did find in Jefferson Parish where people can pick up tarps today, they have until 6 p.m. Alario Center, the Shrine on Airline, Helen Cox High School, and Johnny Bright Playground. So for those who are in need of a tarp, or if you need ice, water, MREs, other resources, they have those as well in those 4 locations. So Alario Center, the Shrine on Airline, Helen Cox High School, and Johnny Bright Playground. So, that's just one of the places that is offering tarps right now.
Mm-hmm. And we started this tool. If you've tuned into one of these before, you know that we have a list, parish by parish list of all the different parishes in Southeast Louisiana that we cover. And the resources available in those parishes, whether it is the point of distribution sites where you can find MREs and tarps and water and things like that. When we get word about hot meal distribution or church events, things like that. When's the power coming back on? Is the water, clear yet? Things like that are all on our website on the front page there, or make it a little easier for you. You text the same number, 504-529-4444, but you text the word home and you'll get a list of the parishes. You can pick your parish, and it'll give you the latest information. We update all of the stories daily.
Yeah.
That's part of my daily routine now, is every night when I first get in and every night before I leave, I double-check all of those and make sure they're up to date. So again, 504-529-4444. Text the word home, and you can check everything by parish. It'll tell you where you can pick up tarps and MREs right now. It'll tell you, which roads are clear. Everything you would need to know are all in there.
So I've noticed some people also asking just about the concerns with this tropical storm for the New Orleans area, as well as other parts in southeastern Louisiana. So maybe we initially started with that, but it's never a bad idea to to refresh it. It's a good way of putting it, refresh it. So as you can see, we are expected to see some rain, especially Wednesday. Wednesday will be kind of the big day for us in southeastern Louisiana. Mm-hmm. It was initially about 3 to 6 inches, but they did just update the rain amounts for our area to 4 to 8 inches possible Wednesday. It could be more in spots, it could be less in spots. Now, if you are in Houston or surrounding areas there, you'll be seeing a lot more rain.
And they're expecting more than 10 inches in the area, maybe even more than 15 in some particular areas.
And wind isn't necessarily going to be an issue with this.
No,
so I guess that is a little bit of good news.
Yeah, by the time it'll make landfall as either a tropical storm or a very low-end hurricane. But then by the time it reaches Louisiana, as you could see in the forecast there a second ago, it's expected to be a low by then. So it might not even have a name anymore at that point. But we're on what we've called, and I've heard, our meteorologists, Chris and Alexandra, use this term a lot. We're on the dirty side of the storm.
Yeah.
Meaning that we're on the side with all the rain.
Right.
So that's why we wanted to talk about this. We have these rain totals coming up. There's going to be a lot of rain in Texas. There's going to be some rain here later. But again, I think it's important when we kind of put this in perspective compared to what happened, 2 weeks ago. There are no evacuation orders for Texas right now, and there aren't any in Louisiana either. It's not even a question in Louisiana right now. But in Texas, where the storm's actually making landfall, there's no voluntary evacuations, there's no mandatory evacuations. They're expecting a lot of rain, but this isn't the kind of destructive storm that we saw 2 weeks ago.
But still, I mean, if you think about what's happened over the past few weeks, any amount of rain for a lot of people isn't the best of news. So again, 4 to 8 inches possible for southeastern Louisiana. Wind, not necessarily much of an issue. If you evacuated to Houston or surrounding areas, officials are saying to stay put after 6 p.m. They already are starting to see some of the rain bands moving into the area. I was looking at some of the feed with our sister station at KHOU. They've been talking about some of the bands coming through. But they're saying if you could stay put after 6 p.m., that would be the best. Because, when you're driving at night, you can't see. You have no clue how deep the water is in spots. With the rain that they're expected to get, I mean, it could be a really bad situation. So if you can stay put, stay put. If you are thinking about coming back to the area, maybe do so sooner rather than later.
Or even, I mean, if you're thinking about coming back and you can wait 2 more days for the storm to pass over, and you might even have a sunny drive back at that point.
Right.
If you can come in behind the storm after it's gone, things might be better then. Just, you don't want to be on the road when it's raining that hard on any given day.
Right.
I see a lot of people in the comments mentioning, when we talked about tarps in the Blue Roof program, wondering if tarps would be able to stay on in the winds from this storm. And the answer is, if they're put on appropriately, yes. This isn't, when we're talking about tarps, we're not talking about just getting a blue tarp, laying it on your roof and hoping for the best. I'm not a contractor, so I'm not the best person to walk you through the exact process. But I know when I did it to my roof, part of it was, we got it over the area, we made sure it was secure so no water could get in, put it down with roofing nails, and got some boards and wrapped it up to weigh them down and screwed it into the roof there to kind of anchor it in and make sure that the wind couldn't get underneath it and lift it up. And I'm sure, better instructions, I'm sure there are a million people we all know who have had to do this a million times in the past that can give you better instructions than me. Talk to a contractor, talk to somebody with the Blue Roofs program, and they'll be able to tell you better than I can. But if you install your tarp correctly, the storm's not going to blow it off your roof.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely needs to be secured. And we were mentioning earlier, too, that now is the time to just double check, walk across your property, walk around. If you can get onto your roof, or if someone can help you get onto the roof, just making sure that the tarp is secured down safely and tight. Going around, cleaning out, your catch basins. People are putting trash in front of their homes and other debris and things like that, which, when it comes to rain, it'll definitely put that debris into where your catch basins are. So if you can maybe try and clear kind of a path, I guess, as best as you can around that will definitely help with the drainage, because 4 to 8 inches is possible, but we could see more rain in spots, and there could be some isolated flooding in spots as well. It just kind of depends on how these rain bands and how the storm kind of moves over the area. So if you can take the time today to prepare for a lot of rain, that is what officials are recommending at this time.
Yeah, and I've seen a few people mention areas that don't have power right now, still areas that haven't been restored, and there are a lot of them in different parishes, in St. Charles and St. John and Lafourche and Terrebonne, in Plaquemines. And unfortunately, this is going to slow that process down too. I'm sure linemen aren't going to be able to work as the storm passes through, and hopefully it won't take too long for it to pass through. But when it's raining, when winds are blowing, even if they're not hurricane force winds, they're not going to be safe up on the poles, and it'll slow things down a little bit. There
is one question. They're asking specifically, what does it look like to fly out of MSY Friday or Saturday? Do we know what the latest is on the airport? Are they fully up and running? Have we?
I will double check. As far as I know, they are, but let me.
That's what I understand as well. So that's something that we can look at. Again, if you have any questions, we are doing our best to try and answer them and help you out and give you as much information in real time as we possibly can. You can text your questions to 529-4444. There's the number there. Again, just text your questions and we will do what we can to answer them. We also have our live stream up on our Facebook page, WWL TV. You can also leave your question in the comments there. We're looking at them right now, so we can try and get those answered to you. And I just want to also, again, we mentioned the Blue Roofs program. It never hurts to reiterate that number, 888-766-3258. 888-766-3258. You can go to their website, blueroof.us, and you have until September 30th to sign up for that program. Again, they got their first tarps up on the roofs, I think in the New Orleans area. I'm not 100% sure on that, on last week. They're slowly but surely getting more and more tarps up on roofs, and they said once they get the ball really rolling, they're going to start getting about 800 tarps per day installed on people's roofs, which is very good news. More tarps on roofs, the better, but of course, weather will hinder that installation process. They can't go up on roofs and install when there's wind, strong wind, and heavy rains. So depending on what we see over the next few days, they may have to stop in certain areas, which may cause just a little bit of delays. But if you have not applied for the Blue Roofs program, you are encouraged to do so. It is free, and you have until September 30th to do that.
And I know you said we got questions about flights into and out of MSY earlier. I'm on their website now. The last update they gave was on Friday, and that's a good sign, because their update was that most airlines are operating as normal. There are a few. I know Southwest, it says, is only doing 14 flights per day through kind of the end of the month. Spirit Airlines isn't doing any late night arrivals right now. But for the most part, every airline is operating in some capacity. Let's see, they usually do about 115 departures a day. As of last Thursday, they're at 65, and those numbers have been increasing every day. So it's not at 100% what they usually do right now, but it's very active.
It's getting better.
Yeah, it's not, if you need to get a flight out of the city or into the city, it's not going to be very difficult anymore.
Right.
Or as difficult as it usually is.
Okay. Here's a question. Trying to fly in tomorrow from Houston. Will that be okay? Again.
Yeah, check with I bet the Houston airport already has updates on that.
Yeah.
I'm sure they.
I would definitely check in with your carrier to see what the status is. I know that in the Houston area, they are already starting to close schools and things like that. So if you are flying out of Houston tomorrow, which, again, they are expected to see a lot of rain with this system, you may just want to check with the air carrier specifically.
They may preemptively cancel a lot of those flights.
Yeah, they might.
If with a tropical storm or hurricane coming, even though it just be a low-end Category 1 storm, they may just want to cancel those flights ahead of time so that nobody gets stuck at the airport, and make it more convenient for flyers, to hunker down and, hopefully get a refund for their flights or a rescheduled flight easily.
I'm just looking on, I'm going to check their website to see if they have any. Let's see, about 3 hours ago, it looks like the Houston airport, Houston Bush Airport, tweeted something. They said they're closely monitoring the tropical storm. We are seeing flight cancellations, so please check with your airline for the latest flight information. So yeah, again, if you are flying out of that airport, into that airport, even if you're flying, out of MSY, it's always best to just check with the carrier first, and check with the airport to check on the cancellations.
Let's see. So if you're just joining us, this is our WWL-TV evacuee desk. The idea is that we want to answer your questions. If you evacuated from Hurricane Ida and you're still in Texas or in Southwest Louisiana, you might be looking at Tropical Storm Nicholas and wondering, how bad is this going to be? Do I need to go somewhere else? What exactly is going on? And even if you're in our area, we'll feel some effects from the storm later this week, around midweek on Wednesday. So if you have questions about that in your area, text us at 504-529-4444. Text us your questions. We'll try to get whatever answers we can for you, or leave them in the comments on our Facebook stream right now. But just to kind of reestablish where we are and what we've been doing, Tropical Storm Nicholas is in the Gulf. It's expected to make landfall in Texas tonight or early Tuesday morning as either a tropical storm or low-end Category 1 storm. The wind is not so much of a threat, but we are expecting a lot of rain to come with it. Parts of Texas there along the coast, along Houston and Galveston and Corpus Christi, could see 10 inches or more of rain.
And they are under a tropical storm warning at this time, as you can see. So yeah, a lot of rain, about
Yeah.
10 inches, could be more than that. Some are saying maybe 20 inches
Yeah,
in
in
spots.
certain places. But something to kind of put it in perspective compared to Ida 2 weeks ago is that right now, there are not evacuation orders in the area. They're expecting a lot of rain, but they're not expecting any kind of catastrophic damage right now. So the advice they're giving to people in the area is that they would like people off the streets by 6 p.m. tonight. And I think they're not expecting the storm to hit at 6 p.m. tonight, but they want time for, first responders and police and people to block off flood-prone intersections and things like that to make sure that, police can get barricades where they need to go. People can be stationed where they need to be stationed without worrying about traffic, without worrying about, cleaning up car accidents or anything that might happen while you're on the road. So that is expected, like I said, tonight, early Tuesday. But by Wednesday, that storm is going to make its way to Louisiana, and it will have weakened by then. We're not expecting any strong winds from it, but we are expecting, 3 to 6 inches of rain in some areas. I think you said they upped that in some areas to 4 to 8 inches.
4 to 8, yep.
Which
And it could be less, it could be more in spots.
But it could cause spot flooding. We're not expecting any kind of widespread flooding from it, but it could cause spotty flooding in our area, some street flooding, things like that, which, as you know, for a lot of people that are still dealing with hurricane damage, whether it's to their home or, their neighborhood or, some places that still don't have power.
Right.
That could be a bigger problem than it usually is. So now is the time to kind of prepare for that. If you need to patch things up on your new roof, if you would rather be with family in a place that does have, clean water and power right now, today or tomorrow morning would be the time to make sure that happens.
Yeah, absolutely.
If you need to, with a lot of debris in the road, if you need to clear your catch basins, things like that, today and tomorrow morning would be a great time for it. But today, like I said, we're not expecting anything catastrophic with this storm. But from the position a lot of Louisiana is in right now, it's good to be prepared and take a few precautions, maybe a few more than you might normally.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just to be safe, and things are a little more vulnerable than usual right now.
A lot of people are vulnerable right now.
Yeah.
And again, we could be seeing those rain showers, especially start to pick up tomorrow night, but Wednesday. We were talking to Chief Meteorologist Chris Franklin just a bit ago, and I've been talking with Alexandra Cranford. They're saying that Wednesday will kind of be the big day where we'll see a bunch of that rainfall, again, 4 to 8 inches. Sam was mentioning it could be lighter in spots, it could be more than that in spots, and there could be some isolated flooding as well. But they're saying 4 to 8 inches kind of in the area. And when we say that, we're talking about southeastern Louisiana, North Shore, South Shore.
Even all the way up to Baton Rouge.
Yes.
They're saying we'll see the impacts from this.
So again, just a lot of rain. So if you can prepare, that would be the best thing to do today and then tomorrow. Just looking to see if there's any other questions.
Let's see what we've got here. I don't see too many coming in right now. Something else to reiterate, though, like we were talking about with roof damage, is the Blue Tarps program. If you have roof damage and you've been putting it off for a little while, if it's not super severe and you thought, maybe I can get away with this for a week without causing any more damage, you'd want to have that covered before this storm comes. It's going to dump a good amount of rain on us. If there's, damage to your roof right now, and you're able to tarp it yourself, I would encourage you to get something up there. But if not, there is the Blue Roofs program. You can call the number on your screen, 888-766-3258, or apply at blueroof.us. This is a federal program. It's free. It goes into effect when there's a certain amount of roof damage in our area, and every parish in our area qualifies for it after Ida. They will send a licensed contractor to your house to put a secure blue tarp on your roof, cover the damage. The idea is that if you have roof damage, but your house is still structurally sound, that this tarp will make your house safer to live in and will keep it clean for longer while you find that contractor and while you work with insurance or FEMA to find a long-term solution to the roof. But this is the kind of thing you're going to want to do before the storm comes if you haven't already.
And one thing to talk about too, just to kind of shift gears but not really, is with heavy rain we've been talking a lot about drainage and catch basins, and if you can take the time to clean those catch basins out in front of your property. But as we all know, there's a lot of trash that still needs picked up, in different areas here. debris, branches, tree limbs, leaves, pine needles, pine cone, I mean, you name it. So, you know, a lot of people are wondering about debris pickup, trash pickup. Obviously, those are things that are all happening now. I know Jefferson Parish gave an update talking about them increasing the number of trucks to try and pick up all the debris as fast as they can. They're at 75 trucks. Most, they say, are on the east bank of Jefferson Parish because they saw a lot of debris there. In terms of trash, they're hoping to have all the trash picked up and emptied this week. They say if you have not had your trash picked up, you need to leave it by the curb in the receptacle and just leave it there because crews they are hoping will get to it. They are using the recycling trucks to help run with routes to pick up garbage. And one of the options too is to bring your own garbage to 400 David Drive in Metairie. If you don't want to wait, you can take it to that landfill again, 400 David Drive, you know, to get it off of your property. So that's an option for you as well if you don't want to wait anymore. And if you are not seeing any garbage pickup in Jefferson Parish or in Metairie, you can email District 5, that's the number 5, District 5 at jeffparish.net. So those are just some information there. I know that there are parish officials in all different kinds of parishes right now are dealing with debris and trash pickup. They're going as fast as they can, but they say that there is just so much right now that it's slowing them down, and they're just asking for people's patience right now as they try and get as much of it as they possibly can picked up.
Yes. Something else somebody asked us about gas stations and grocery stores operating at normal levels. So if you have evacuated and you're thinking about coming back, but you're wondering, you know, will I be able to get groceries? Will I be able to get gas? That situation has gotten much better. When they say normal levels, I don't think they're normal levels
it's normal levels yet, no.
I went to the grocery store yesterday, and they had a lot of things. They were well stocked. I'm not going to say, you know, anybody who's looking for most things will be able to find at grocery stores, but the meat section, you know, perishables especially.
Yep.
The vegetable section, produce section isn't as well stocked as usual. The deli is not as well stocked as usual, but everything is open. Gas stations, I didn't have to wait in line for gas all week. We filled up a couple cans the other day.
Yeah, that seems to be better.
But things are from the long lines and problems that we saw, you know, late last week maybe or the week before. That's not an issue anymore in Jefferson or Orleans. I know we've done some stores on the North Shore too. It doesn't seem nearly as much of an issue. I can't guarantee what would be available in places like Terrebonne or St. Charles right now. Like I said, a lot of those places, if they don't have power, if they don't have running water, those stores are most likely not going to be open. And if they are, it'll be in a very limited capacity.
Yeah. There are a lot of places open in terms of grocery stores. I will say that I have seen a lot of lines. They are, because there's so many people trying to get in them that they are limiting the number of people inside at a time. The lines move quickly, I'll say that. But again, once you're inside, the demand is high for a lot of things.
Yeah.
And I got to give it to these grocery store workers because they are, you know, busting their butts to try and get these shelves restocked. They have boxes and boxes and they're trying to get things back up, you know, on the shelves, but as quickly as they're putting it up, people are going and taking it. So like you said, the situation there may not be 100%, but it is better than it was a few weeks ago.
And the hours of operation, too, have also been kind of limited. I think some of them are opening a little later than usual and closing a little earlier than usual. I know there have been some staffing issues, you know, because there are people that have still evacuated. There are people that have to, you know, after the storm, they need to help their families. They need to work on their homes. They're, you know, a lot of people that we'll see every day at our grocery stores, at our gas stations, you know, people that work in restaurants with us, have a lot going on right now. Whether it's a family that they need to help with a house that was destroyed or damage that they need to take care of on their own time. And that's part of the reason why a lot of these stores are running limited hours right now, is so that their workers can take care of what they need to take care of.
So, and if you did evacuate to Houston, just to kind of circle back around, and you're thinking about coming back to the area, know that if you hit the road, they are telling people to hit the road sooner rather than later. They are really encouraging people to not drive around or anytime after 6 p.m. They are seeing some rain bands move across the area right now, but they are expecting it really to start picking up around that time and after. So if you can stay put, if you're in eastern Texas, southeastern Texas, it it might be best to just stay put at this time and just let this storm pass.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
This is not the kind of thing where if you stay put tonight that you'll be stuck there for weeks.
Right.
It's the kind of thing, let it pass. I know it can be especially stressful, if you're not as familiar with the area, if you're in a strange place you haven't been before, or even if you visit every once in a while but you don't know how to handle it in a kind of storm or emergency situation. The best advice we can give is to listen to what officials in the area are saying. And if they're saying stay off the roads after 6 p.m., I would stay off the roads after 6 p.m. A lot of the same resources that are available here during a storm are available in Texas. I know I've seen, I believe 211 is available right now if you're wondering about different shelters in the area. Let me see, I'm going to pull up. We have a sister station in Houston, KHOU, that we're getting a lot of this information from. So they have a lot of great resources. If you're out of town right now and you're looking for a local station there to follow, they would definitely be one to keep an eye on.
And they'll also be streaming as well on their website. So if you don't have cable or, if streaming is your best option, you can definitely see the latest updates from them by doing that.
But something to keep in mind too, if you're in there, feeling a little nervous after Ida, there are no evacuation orders in the area right now around Houston, around Galveston, around Corpus Christi. There's no voluntary evacuation orders. There's no mandatory evacuation orders.
Right.
Again, that also, when we say voluntary evacuation order, if you want to leave, nobody's being forced into their homes either. But they are asking that you stay off the streets after 6 p.m. tonight, because that is when they expect the weather to start to turn a little bit and start to rain. And it gives more room for first responders to station themselves, respond to any emergencies that do pop up if there are less people on the road, and less probability that there will be problems if people aren't on the road. If the cars aren't on the road, nobody can get stuck in floodwater. There will be less car accidents with fewer cars on the road. It really opens up emergency officials to respond if there is a dire situation.
Yeah. And again, in terms of our impacts here in southeastern Louisiana, we will be seeing a lot of rain. Wind's not much of an issue, but officials are saying about 4 to 8 inches possible, and that Wednesday will kind of be the day where we can expect those rain showers. You can see kind of the models showing where this storm is headed, and while it isn't necessarily going completely over New Orleans and southeastern Louisiana, we will be experiencing some of the impacts from this storm. So again, 4 to 8 inches possible. Wednesday, kind of the biggest day. It could be more rain than that. It could be less rain than that. It just kind of depends on where these bands set up and how fast they're moving. We could see some isolated flooding in spots. But again, wind, it will be gusty at times.
Yeah, I wouldn't recommend, if you do have to do roofing work, I wouldn't recommend doing it on Wednesday. It's the kind of thing, use common sense when it comes to this stuff. By the time it reaches us, it will have weekend. I think we're expecting, strongest winds around 25 miles an hour, something like that, when it finally reaches our area. Depending, and that could, that'll change on the daily forecast as well. But that's what is forecast at the moment.
There we go.
Going a little off the top of my head right now. But we're not expecting any kind of catastrophic damage to Louisiana on Wednesday.
And by Thursday, conditions will have improved.
It will have passed.
So.
Conditions will have improved. So again, if you want to do any preparations, today and tomorrow are the days. Get ready for it. Like we said, a lot of people are more vulnerable than usual right now, and it would be a good idea to be ready for street flooding.
Right. Yeah.
The worst case scenario right now for Louisiana is not very bad, but it's,
It doesn't help though, with the situation. It's so hard because, so many people are hurting right now, and even just a little amount of rain can
it can
be
cause some major
detrimental
problems.
to people.
And that's why usually for a storm like this in Louisiana, we wouldn't usually point it out as much as we have been and kind of put an emphasis on it right now. But we know people are very vulnerable right now. Their houses aren't as secure as usual. Their neighborhoods aren't as secure as usual. So we want to make sure that everybody is prepared. This might be the kind of rain event where on a normal Wednesday, you'd still go to work. Schools might not even be canceled or anything.
Sure.
But right now, we're in a very different place than usual.
Yeah, so again, just if you can, get those tarps up sooner rather than later. If you can't do it, hopefully you can get someone to help you out with it. I know that over the weekend I saw a lot of people on their roofs and walking around their properties just trying to make sure that, everything was kind of put in place and, if they did see a lot of rain in their area, that stuff wouldn't float away or things like that.
Yeah.
So, because we do have concerns, with drainage and catch basins and things like that. So if you can just clean up stuff around your property, a lot of that debris and pine needles and leaves and things like that, that can really cause drainage to back up in spots. So do whatever you can to just kind of clean up and tidy what's going on, with your property. If you see someone who needs help, maybe if you have the time and resources to help them out as well. So, yeah.
It's a good time to, I'm sure we all have at various points in the past couple of weeks, but it's a good time to check in on your neighbor, check in on your family, see where they're at with everything. And, they might not be in much danger on Wednesday, but it's a good time to check in. And, there's no reason to put yourself in danger this Wednesday.
Here's a question. I don't know if you've been able to see any information on this, Sam, but it's about cocks. And I've seen this too being asked on social media as well. Some people wondering, updates with cocks. I know some people aren't even thinking about that right now.
Yeah.
But
You see what our latest.
I didn't know.
I know we've been in touch with Cox and AT&T in the area.
Again, not something that a lot of people are focused on right now, but I do know that there are a lot of people who are asking about those services and if we have heard anything from those companies.
Mm-hmm. And it does, especially, things like that after a couple weeks can become important, even if you have kids or something too, and you want to stream an episode of Sesame Street or something. It can be so important to get that stuff back up and running. So let me see.
So there's something that our chief meteorologist, Chris Franklin, just posted on Twitter, some tropical preps that may be helpful for you at home right now. One that we've been talking about for a while, patching roof. If you can put a tarp, if you need to do what you can to patch those spots that need help so that no water can get into your home, do that now. Again, storm debris away from storm drains. You want to clean storm drains if you can, so that way you have a clear path for water to flow. And we, of course, are going to be monitoring the system, so you want to stay with Eyewitness News for the latest on this, and with Tropical Storm Nicholas. We have a great weather team. They do a fantastic job, and they're going to do what they can to answer all your questions and keep you guys safe. So definitely stay with Eyewitness News on the latest on air and online for that. We have a great resource on our website, wwltv.com, that you can find a ton of information on as well. So just a couple of things for you to keep in mind as well. Let's see. So yeah, it looks like impacts here, according to Alexandra Cranford, we'll see some rain increase Tuesday, especially Wednesday. Again, Wednesday's kind of the big day where we'll see impacts from Tropical Storm Nicholas. And then by Thursday, things will improve greatly. So that's definitely some good news. This won't be a long-term thing.
Yeah, looks like we don't have a particularly great update on Cox right now. Looks like they have identified 73 miles of damage, lines to be repaired in the area. I know a lot of people right now in a lot of different areas, even areas where water and power have been widely restored, still don't have internet because of it. Yeah. But it doesn't look like they have a real timeline yet for when to expect it back. I know I've seen the Cox crews in my neighborhood already. I've seen them out on the streets just like we have linemen in every neighborhood. But it does not look like we have a real timetable yet for when to expect Cox back in different areas.
Here's also something I've seen, not to just jump around on all these topics, but this is about tarps for those in Ascension Parish. The parish government is delivering tarps to local fire departments there. So tarps will be available after 2 o'clock today, so they're available now. I'm sure it's a first come, first serve, type deal. Fire District Number 1 on Airline Highway, US 61 in Gonzales. Prairieville Fire Department Main Station on LA Highway 73. Donaldsonville Fire Department on Marchand Drive. Again, tarps will be available now. I'm assuming first come, first serve. It doesn't say how many tarps that each are getting, but if you're in need of a tarp, it's never a bad idea to check in with your parish government to see where they are available, if they are available.
And we do have, we keep these lists updated parish by parish on our website still. We do this, we update them each a couple times a day with the latest distribution sites, where to find hot meals in the area whenever a volunteer or church group has come into town, things like that. If you text the number 504-529-4444, again, it's the same line that we're using to take questions for the show right now. But if you text the word home, you'll get a list of parishes, and you can pick your parish from the list, and you'll get the latest information on where the distribution sites are, where you can find clean water right now, the estimates for when power might be back on, things like that, are all on our website still. And again, it's on the front page of wwltv.com or in our app, or you can text 504-529-4444. Text the word home to that number to get the latest information for your parish.
And also Ascension Parish is making sandbags available in their usual spots throughout the parish. They're saying because the last storm was so recent, parish crews haven't had the time to fill more bags. They have been focusing obviously on cleanup and recovery. There are a ton of sandbag locations. Ascension Parish on the East Bank, it looks like Oak Grove Community Center, Prairieville Fire Department, Highway 73, Paula Park, 5th Ward Fire Department, Butch Gore Park, AP Fire District Number 1, Stevens Park, Jackie Robinson Park, LA 431 in the Curve, Raymond Tullier Road, Ridge Road, and a Buxton Road. And then on the West Bank, the DPW West Church Street Barn, where you can go. Some spots have filled bags, others it's a do-it-yourself type deal. So if you are in need of sandbags, theirs is an option for you in Ascension Parish. And I have not seen any other sandbagging locations for other parishes at this time, but obviously that's something that we will be monitoring and letting you know as soon as possible.
Yeah, and that could change tomorrow.
It could change.
I think we said tomorrow will still be a day for people in our area to get ready as Tropical Storm Nicholas kind of reaches us.
Right.
So keep an eye out for that kind of information. If you're looking for sandbags, if you're looking for different resources in the parish, tomorrow will be the day for those services to pop up.
And again, 4 to 8 inches is expected here for southeastern Louisiana. It could be more in spots, it could be less in spots, but just know that's kind of what forecasters are looking at right now. Again, it could change, but right now 4 to 8 inches for southeastern Louisiana. So if you're wondering, do I need sandbags? You know, what kind of rain are we expecting? That's kind of what it is at the moment, 4 to 8 inches.
I know too, for Louisiana specifically, Governor Edwards today, I think, put out the emergency declaration for Tropical Storm Nicholas. You know what that means? That doesn't mean, you know, to state of emergency, everything's on lockdown or we're expecting anything major, but that opens up the funds so that if something happens, all the funding is available, that we can get first responders where they need to be, that we can get supplies where they need to be.
And he will be talking today. He is going to be giving an update today. It looks like around 3:30.
3:30, and we will be streaming that as well.
Okay.
We'll definitely have that in the same thing on our app, on our website, Facebook, YouTube. It will be up there.
Yeah, so I mean, if you need to know the latest on that, we will be following that. You can find that information at WWL TV. So he will be giving an update at 3:30 this afternoon, talking obviously about the latest, I'm assuming, on recovery, as well as with Tropical Storm Nicholas now in the picture.
Let's see here. Too many questions, any comments right now. We have a question about curfews that somebody texted us in. Right now, in parishes where power and water have mostly been restored, in your Jefferson parishes, in Orleans Parish, St. Tammany, places like that, there is no longer a curfew in effect. They were specifically asking about New Orleans, but it's important to note that in parishes where, you know, in St. Charles Parish, Lafourche, places like that, I don't know the hours specifically, but where there's not widespread power restored and there's still a lot of outages and a lot of problems right there, the curfews are still in effect to keep the roads clear after dark.
Yeah, I do want to say too, in terms of curfews, I know that this person was specifically asking about New Orleans. I think that's what you just said. Lafourche Parish, for those in Lafourche Parish, they changed their curfew. There's a curfew still in effect, but the new nightly curfew has been changed to 10 p.m. to 5 a.m. That starts today. It is effective for all of Lafourche Parish, including the municipalities of Thibodaux, Lockport, and Golden Meadow. So from 10 p.m. to 5 a.m. in Lafourche Parish, that curfew will be in effect. I will say, too, that if you have a question about curfews for your particular area, if you have the capability to check online, the parish government, well, of course you can check in with WWL-TV. We have that resource for you on our website. But another good resource too is just to go to your the parish government page website, because they typically have the latest information on curfews, distribution sites, things like that, all outlined on their website as well. So always go to WWL-TV first, but then, if you're not finding what you're finding,
something you might not be as familiar with from the parish too is if you don't see something straight up on the, St. Tammany Parish website or on the St. James Parish website, look up the Emergency Operations Center. Whenever there's a storm in the area, the Emergency Operations Center gets staffed. And that is kind of the center for all this information parish by parish.
Yeah.
So if you're having trouble finding something for your parish that you're looking for, you don't see the updates from them, you don't see it from us, something to check. And because those are the places that we check too. That's where we get a lot of this from, is the Emergency Operations Center. If that's not a term or location in your vocabulary yet, it should be during hurricane season. Let's see.
I'm trying to find... And one person is asking about St. Charles Parish. We have done a lot of coverage in St. Charles Parish. We have all the latest about that specific area on our website, wwltv.com. Again,
I have it already pulled. Were they looking for anything in particular?
No, just general St. Charles Parish information. So we have parish by parish information.
Yeah, we've
on
been
our
breaking
website.
it down parish by parish.
We have been, sending reporters out to that area as much as we possibly can. But again, you can just go to wwltv.com for all other details and specifics regarding that parish.
Yeah, and to take a moment too. I know in Houston, they're kind of preparing for a storm right now, making sure they're covered. I know some of our crews from Texas went back recently to make sure they were there to cover the storm. But we have had crews from all across the country and all of our sister stations across the country come down to help us cover every area in Louisiana hit by the storm.
Yeah.
And it's hard to get live shots out of certain areas still to this day, whether it's a power issue, an internet issue, a cell phone service issue. So we don't always have live reports from some areas, but we have had extra crews in every day this week, by the dozens even. To make sure we're covering every area, and they've been a huge help to us, and hopefully they're getting the information that you need as well, and that you've been able to find it.
And it looks like too, just again in terms of southeastern Louisiana, the latest, it looks like a flash flood watch has been issued for our area. It will be issued. Looks like maybe tomorrow at 7 a.m. and it will go until Thursday at 7 a.m. So flash flood watch. We are expecting 4 to 8 inches possible. Again, that could mean we could see more rain than that. It could be less than that. In some spots, there could be isolated flooding. But just something that people need to be aware of. So that'll be in effect tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. and will continue until Thursday at 7 a.m. And again, Wednesday is kind of the big day for the rain for us.
And when we say it's in there for all of southeast Louisiana, we do mean the South Shore, the North Shore, pretty much everywhere from, Plaquemines Parish all the way up to Baton Rouge and a little above it. All of southeast Louisiana is under this flash flood watch now.
It is something that we are monitoring, and obviously our weather team is monitoring. And a lot of people are watching right now, just kind of waiting to see kind of what happens with Tropical Storm Nicholas. But again, that flash flood watch is in effect because we could be seeing a lot of rainfall in spots. I'm not seeing any other questions. If you have a question, please don't hesitate to send it. You can text it to 529-4444. We're going to do what we can to try and answer those questions in real time. You can email press release at wwltv.com.
Yeah.
You can
we monitor these lines.
Yeah.
We're watching the text line right now specifically, but I try to check back in on it multiple times a day to answer questions. And if you text the word home to that number, 504-529-4444, you can get that information parish by parish for yourself. And if your question's not answered by the stories, text in the question, and we'll try to get that information out straight to you and put it in the story.
Yeah.
Because if you have that question, you're 99% chance you're not alone.
No, there are a lot of people who have so many questions right now, and that's so understandable. And even if we're not sitting here on the evacuee desk, our digital team is great. They are monitoring this. If you have questions, just at any time, please feel free to send them in, because we will do what we can to answer those questions that you may have and so many others have at this time. There's so many unknowns, and there's a lot of information coming out 24/7, so we definitely want to do what we can to try and help you guys out, with giving you that information.
So if we can go back to the top real quick. If you're just joining us, if you've been sticking with us, this is our evacuee desk. It's here to answer questions. Specifically, we wanted to reach out to people who have evacuated to like Southwest Louisiana, maybe made it all the way to Texas or on the eastern side of Texas around the Gulf because of Tropical Storm Nicholas.
Yeah.
It's expected to make landfall tonight or early tomorrow morning, either as a tropical storm or as a low-end Category 1 hurricane. But the biggest issue with it is flooding rain.
Right.
In parts of Texas, we're expecting more than 10 inches of rain. In parts of Louisiana, we're expecting maybe 4 to 8 inches right now. So if you have questions for that, please feel free to reach out. But I think one of the first things that popped out to me when I was looking at coverage from this, and to kind of put it in perspective, is there are not evacuation orders for those parts of Texas. And that's not, a fault of the local government or anything. That's what they're expecting from the storm. They are prepared for it. They are ready for it. They do not expect anything catastrophic from it. But we want to keep an eye on it because, a lot of our locals have evacuated to that area.
Yeah.
And a lot of people that are here right now are especially vulnerable because of Ida.
And if you're in that area too, and you're sitting there right now and you're saying, or maybe you know someone who's evacuated to that area and maybe they're debating, well, should I stay? Should I go back? I really want to head back home to Louisiana and see how things are. It's now 3 o'clock. Well, it's close to 3 o'clock. It's 2:56, and officials in Texas are saying if you can stay put after 6 p.m., that is what's highly recommended of people. So if you want to leave and you're debating it, your window is slowly closing.
Yeah, they want people to stay off the roads during the storm. Just not make things, not to make things any more dangerous than they need to be.
Yeah, I mean, when things get dark and the sun goes down, you can't see how deep the water is. If water is on the road, as Sam has been mentioning, they've been putting barricades up in spots, problem areas, I'm assuming, that might, accumulate a lot of water. They're expecting it could be 20 inches in spots. That's what I've seen online. A lot of rain. So if you can stay put for the next, 24, 48 hours, if you're in, southeastern Texas, that may be your best bet. And then by Thursday, it might be a good day to kind of meander on back to Louisiana, just because we won't be seeing as many impacts on Thursday from the rain. Texas will obviously be kind of cleared up by then, hopefully.
Yeah. This might throw off some of your plans a little bit, but this is not the kind of storm, or it shouldn't be, where if you delay returning to Louisiana, that you would be stuck in Texas for another 2 weeks or something like that.
Right.
This is the kind of thing where it could be safer to wait a day or two and then make the trek back home.
Yeah, just to kind of see how things, because, Houston can flood.
Yeah.
So just kind of see how the storm and rain kind of situates and sets up, and wait it out and see what happens, come Wednesday or Thursday. And that might be best. That's something that officials are really encouraging for you to do. Just stay put if you can. If you want to head back to Louisiana right now would be the time to do it. And again, we'll be seeing some of the heaviest rain on Wednesday here for southeastern Louisiana.
So, and if you are in Louisiana right now, whether it's in southwest Louisiana or southeast, now is the time to be ready for it. This might not be, we're expecting 4 to 8 inches of rain, so we're expecting some, not catastrophic flooding, but some areas could flood. There could be street flooding in some spots, depending on how the rain goes, where it falls, how quickly it falls. And we're vulnerable right now after Ida. A lot of places are recovering, a lot of places are rebuilding, a lot of homes aren't as secure as they used to be. And this is the time that if you need to do some extra preparations, more than usual, think about it. Use common sense. You know what you're doing. We're no strangers to floods. We're no strangers to storms, and we know this isn't going to be a catastrophic storm when it reaches Louisiana. But if we're vulnerable right now, think it through maybe a little more than you usually would.
Yeah, I mean, I know that I'm sure so many of you, myself included, have traversed your property so many times in the past 2 weeks. You've, seen every in and out, and every little piece of property that you own. I mean, it might not hurt just for one more time to just go around, take a look, bring in things that are loose, pick up debris, clean those catch basins, Pick up, just again, make those final preparations. Secure those tarps on your roof if you can. Just do what you can to just prepare for a lot of rain. You could be seeing a lot. You might be lucky and miss out on the rain, but again, 4 to 8 inches possible. It's kind of what's being predicted by weather forecasters and meteorologists. So just do what you can to prepare. Flash flood watch has been issued for the area starting tomorrow and into Thursday. So just prepare for rain, really. Because wind, not so much an issue. We could be seeing some wind gusts at times, but wind really isn't the big problem, I guess you could say. It would be rain. So just prepare for a lot of rain starting tomorrow, especially Wednesday, and then starting to clear up on Thursday. And I'm not seeing any other questions.
No, I don't see anything coming in right now. So hopefully we've answered your questions.
I know, hopefully that's a good thing.
Hopefully if you are worried about this storm, we've put your mind at ease a little bit. You're ready for what's coming, whether you're in Texas or Louisiana. But if you do have questions, if you think of something else, feel free to text us, 504-529-4444. If you text the word home to that, we can give you a parish-by-parish breakdown of what's happening in your parish, where resources are, what to expect. Or if you have a more specific question that those guides don't answer, just send us the question.
Yeah.
We keep an eye on it. We might not get to you, we might not respond immediately, but the day of, we generally get back to you. And if you have that question, it's something we might want to address on air, and it's something we might want a reporter to cover.
So ask it anytime, and we'll try and answer it for you. There's one thing before we go that I want to just mention. Terrebonne did send an emergency update 34 seconds ago. So tomorrow at 7 a.m. In anticipation of the heavy rains that are expected in Terrebonne Parish, the Homa Tunnel will be closed tomorrow, Tuesday, beginning at 7 a.m. so that gutters can be cleaned of debris. So the parishes all over, again, are doing what they can to prepare for heavy rain. This cleanup will prevent debris from getting into the pump system that keeps the tunnel dry. If the pumps are clogged with debris, the tunnel will begin to flood, which of course is never a good thing. And the tunnel will reopen just as soon as possible, but no time has been made available for that. So, but when the tunnel is reopened, they of course will let people know. So just tomorrow at 7 a.m., the Homa Tunnel will be closed, just so people in that area know. But I think we're gonna wrap up here. And again, if you have any questions, what is the best way for people to submit those questions?
I would text them in, 504-529-4444. You can shoot us a direct message on Facebook too.
Yeah.
We check those. If you tweet at us, that's the thing we also monitor. Or if you shoot us an email, pressrelease@wwltv.com.
Yep.
All good ways to reach us.
Yeah, and whatever the question is, there is no dumb question. Ask as many questions as you want, and we will do what we can to try and answer them for you and get back to you as soon as possible. Well, thanks so much for tuning in, you guys, and hopefully this helped you out. And be sure to tune in to this evening's newscast, where we're going to have a lot more information for you guys.